Pyramid One Radio.
To call and to speak to Kellie, use these numbers. Dial 605-472-5765. Then dial the access code 608060#. Then to join the session, which will be awesome. Congratulations, you are now ready. Tell everyone we expect 1,000 people listening on their phones from all over the world.
This is a Pyramid One International Network presentation. Good evening, and welcome to Conscious Speaks. Let me tell you a little about the host. Her name is Kellie J. Wright. You all know her. Tonight, be a part of the conversation. What it means to truly love yourself. Free of judgment, fear, ego, pride, and jealousy. She says, we learn to undo what we have accepted or taken on as part of our perception of self. We are free from negative self-talk. Start a 90-day transformation, and she will assist along your journey. Whenever two or more are in his presence is how this works. Kellie's ebook is how she walked her mind out of doubt and fear, one blog at a time for 13 weeks, into loving and acceptance of self. The first step is the hardest, and it will become a way of life. Once we know we can free our thoughts from fear, the work becomes a staple item to the goodness it provides. Life is a gift. So make sure you choose to wrap yours in a world that is created by and lived on your terms. Kellie J. Wright is a successful radio show host, self-love transformational guide, business owner, and voice and author at www.internaljourneys.com. Kellie is on a passion-filled mission to help individuals discover their own truth through her actualized process called the 90-Day Transformation.
Yay!
Now, may I introduce to you, the audience, to the entire world, to the universe, to the light, Kellie J. Wright.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Bob. How are you doing today?
What's happening?
A lot.
Really?
A lot's happening. Yeah. There's been a lot happening out here at the little cabin in the woods.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Little,
Well, not back.
a little
Wow,
cabin, yeah, a little cabin, yeah, okay. Uh-huh, yep, gotcha.
Yeah, none of that. Wow, I did blush. Yeah, I've been thinking about that.
I was just going to say that you turned colors there for a second.
I know, and I never do that. I don't know what just happened to me. Wow.
Oh,
Well, it's interesting because I also was just listening to a song. I follow people on Instagram, and on Instagram, people live and grow out loud like I do. There's many of us, and one of the accounts that I follow, a psychiatrist on the East Coast, plays guitar, sings, and acts. And so, he'll upload some of his songs and stuff. And he did the Bee Gees the other night, For So Long.
oh
And
God.
I know I couldn't get the song out of my head. So I'm in my kitchen last night, and I'm making dinner, and I'm like, for so long. No, no, no. And I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, oh, damn it. I just was like, what's happening? Oh, no, I blame him. I blame Jason. And so, interesting enough, I can't get the song out of my head. So I thought while we're getting ready for the show, I would listen to it. And then Toto comes on.
Oh, yes.
I was just, oh, Lord. So no wonder I'm blushing. It's just like all those songs are very like, woo.
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
it's spring, right? Love's in the air, or one would hope. I don't know.
Well, the Bee Gees and me were never. I mean, in that era anyway, we're never friends. You know what I mean? I mean, let's face it, I'm a lead singer,
Yeah.
but I play everything. But I mean, in the band, I played rhythm guitar. So all I had to do during all their songs or anything that even touched that era was go chicka 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 chicka. That's all I did. I'd go
Yeah,
chicka
right.
chicka chicka chicka. Well, and the drummer was an ex-Dodger pitcher. I mean, this guy
Okay.
was big. I'm 6'1", he was 6'2" or 6'3", and huge, built up like a football player. And he played drums. The drums, a huge drum set. It looked like it was a miniature compared to this guy.
Oh my
When we
goodness.
had to do those kind of songs, because they'd always, people would you get even
Yeah.
if you had like a big audience or something, somebody would say, "I bet you can't play." I mean, we knew in our heads, we knew like 600 songs. We could pick them
Right.
out like
Right.
that, one, two, three. So when we used to do a song like that, the drummer used to put his two elbows, on like the drum, and he used to go
Yeah.
like tick, 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 while the bass drum would go boom, boom, boom,
Boom.
and
Boom.
he had
Boom.
double drums, double basses.
Yeah.
So he'd go one foot, the other foot, one foot, the other foot, and we'd be making so much fun out of that. But I mean, the song would be perfect, just like you would put the
Yeah.
needle on the record. But it was just like we were like making so much fun out of that era. I mean, give me Led
The
Zeppelin,
70s.
ZZ Top, Toto. I mean, all those
Yeah.
bands, and I'm comfortable right there.
Yeah, you're like, and that's me out. Yeah, I was watching the video, and I'm watching all three of the brothers, Andy and Barry, and I can't remember the other one, but they're just doing this thing for so long, and they're walking really slow, like in a circle. I'm like, what are they doing? It's just like in a row, in a circle, just walking.
Yeah, yeah, and it
And
was,
there's not one woman in the video. It's just them singing to whomever, maybe themselves. But it's a good song. I love it, and
but let's what while you're on that subject, take that time in
hmm
space. Okay, that is a time when people did love each other or anybody.
right, true, right.
or
That whole
anybody. I
70s
mean,
thing going on.
Aquarius, for instance. I was there, man. These
Yeah.
people are walking on. I think it was the first or second row or something. These people were walking on the arms of the chairs. The whole line of them came off the stage, down off the stage, across each one of the arm rests, and that's how they
Yeah.
walked right over you, as you were sitting there watching the show. I mean, I saw it in New
Wow.
York when almost nobody went. I mean, it was like I was like one of the
Yeah.
first ones
Yeah.
there, but I was in a play right around the block, so I mean, it was easy to go around and see it. So
Yeah. Free love, right? Peace and joy, and we aspire to that, and sometimes we use music and other things to help us get there. I believe transformation work. Everything will lead back to transformation work. I believe that we can feel that way just by freeing our heart, freeing our frequency, and so that's what you're doing with Pure Men One Network Radio, is trying to liberate that frequency. That's what we do with transformation work. Is
bingo.
really want to just have that love, right? It's a feeling, and we can
Yeah,
tap into it.
yeah. I mean, it's funny
Faith
though,
it.
but unless maybe we're just lucky, to have lived that long, or
Yeah.
through not even I mean, we lived through that era. I mean, when I
You
started
made me
playing guitar.
laugh 'cause-
Everybody that I know that were a little bit younger, obviously, than me, or older, whatever, they were like, well, everybody played the guitar there because of the Beatles. No, I did not. Elvis.
Elvis, he's
That
the
was
man.
pre the Beatles. You know what I mean? It
Yeah,
was him that used to do it.
he's,
I mean,
he's the
I could
king.
do I could do a great Elvis, but don't ask me to go out on the dance floor. Forget about it. I make a fool of myself in seconds.
My stepmother Terry loved Elvis, and so I grew up listening to him quite a bit. And I love Elvis. I'm a big Wings girl. I don't know what happened to me, but I love the Beatles, but I prefer Paul McCartney and Wings.
Oh, that's all
And
right.
so I get into debates sometimes about that because people want to, I get really passionate about how I like them better. And so, music it's liberating, we talked about, or it can be debilitating, and it all depends on where we are, what we're looking for in that music, right? It depends on what we're looking for when we go to a concert. It depends on what we're looking for when we, hear a song, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because what we're trying to do is connect to things outside of us that are either emoting, that need us, that we're looking for something, or we're just wanting to find a place to chill out for a while. And so I'm a 70s rock and roll girl, 70s disco. I was born in 1970, and my aunt and my father, who raised me, both played music all the time, and my uncle. So I grew up listening to every record, every 8-track, and I actually know all the words to almost every song. Like, people are like, how do you know the words to almost every song? And I'm like, because
Yeah, really.
it was just like music was such a big thing. And I find right now, it's interesting that we're going here, I find now it's not so much for me anymore. And is it an age thing? I don't know. I'm 49 now.
You're not
But
old. You're not old.
I'm
Trust
not
me.
old, but I used to have albums, and it was a weird thing to go to CDs, and then I had CDs, and now we have a cloud, and I am out of sight, out of mind. So I walk around and I don't see the music, and so I don't play it. It's really weird. I just was like, and then I forget what I have. I'm like, I have this whole collection in there, but I'm like, one of the things was touching the albums and flipping through
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
reading the names, and you had them, in their own categories, rock, soft rock, and you have your favorite ones, and so,
I have
it's
boxes of albums right here.
yeah,
I have
yeah.
all the Beatle
I bet
albums.
you do.
Yeah, I
I
have
bet you do.
all
They're
the Beatle
probably worth
albums.
a mint.
They'll be mine until I die, and probably somebody else will throw them in the garbage. Who knows? But
They won't.
it's
They won't ever go in the garbage because people aren't that silly. They will definitely donate them, and some collector will be like, "Oh my gosh, they hit the jackpot."
the
I have friends
original,
that's what they do.
the original one, the original, uh, Meet the Beatles album.
Hmm.
I have number 11 that was sold in New Jersey.
Oh, wow. Yeah. See those
My
things.
mother and I went at like 4 o'clock in the morning to this. It was Sam Ash at that
Okay.
time. Sam Ash is still around somewhere. I know it is, but Sam Ash was like Best Buy is today.
Okay.
It was the same
Okay.
thing,
Yeah.
and so we went. My mother actually took me because I wanted to go. We went to this store and that, and stand online for like hours. It was like crazy, just to get this thing. That
I
when you come
remember
through,
doing
you get the
things like
numbers.
that for tickets to concerts and stuff like that. But now you can buy them online. I love an automated world, but I also miss some of the, I was talking to a client who's a little bit younger than me, but we were talking about how we get to gauge things now. At 49, almost 50, you really get to look back and you have something to compare the last 10 years to, right? When you're
Mm-hmm.
30, you really just kind of like, oh, the 20s fly by. And so, but we were talking about it's like all of a sudden you get older, and you are in the middle of things changing quickly. Remember, we talked about how kids are growing up, they have all this
Sure.
technology, everything's different.
Oh
Well, we're
God,
going
yeah.
up through that. We're trying to process it too, and it's one of those things, like, keeping up with it sometimes is like almost tiring, but it's also part of what liberates us forward. If we don't embrace change, whether it's internally inside of our heart and soul, or whether it's externally the way the planet is moving, then we get caught. And and I didn't think I was going here, but it even comes down to teaching, right? Because I have worked in customer service jobs where I was on the telephone and in billing or whatever, or especially when I was in construction management and real estate development for over 20 years, I was on the phone a lot. So I have a lot of customer service skills. But when I came home from my spiritual walkabout and moved back to Eatonville, it's a very small town, and I got a job at the local phone company, so I was taking phone calls. And I would just sit there and I would have so much fun talking to the elderly people that called in, because they're like, don't know how to set up bill pay. They need help trying to figure out how to do automatic payment. And I would be on a call sometimes for like an hour, because I was like, you know what? I'm here for you. This is what I'm here for. I will help you. They want to get off the phone. They feel frustrated. They feel embarrassed. And there's nothing to be embarrassed about. When we don't understand something that we never grew up knowing, there's nothing to be embarrassed about, right? And that's the same with transformation work. Do you think that, right?
Oh yeah. When I was a vice president with a mortgage company, and then one of the things that I had under me in my sales department was the telemarketing department. It was so funny you happen to say that. So we had like 30 people that were calling people and seeing if they needed, someone to come and talk to them about, getting a mortgage or whatever. And I'm telling you, I used to have a party with all those kids. They were kids compared to me anyway. But I mean, here I am. I was walking around in a suit. I mean, I walk back and forth and to New York. My office is in New Jersey. So, I mean, I'd like walk in like these kids. I used to tell the kids, look, I said, as long as you have clothes on, I don't care what you wear, because nobody can see you on the other side. So, no, so they love me, man. They could come in like, old jeans and whatever, So here I am, the first day in that I walked in there in the suit, and I said, wait a minute, I says, hold it, stop. So I took off the jacket, I took off the tie, I rolled up the sleeves and everything else, and I said, okay, now wait a minute, let me get down to your level a little bit so you understand me, and I'm not speaking Chinese. So they all laughed. And I went with them. I went with them to make them human. See, now this is what what your transformation is exactly the same thing in a way. It makes people more human than they think they can be or can attain by just being themselves.
Yeah, it is. And I have to check myself even sometimes, right? I live in the middle of a cabin in the woods. I'm working all the time. My clients are on the phone. And I'm like, am I interacting enough with me? Am I interacting with my family? I'm building a business. I'm practicing. I'm creating, moving forward. It's like, am I meeting myself head on? Am I remembering to use the skills that I taught myself? Like we have to remember that it makes us more human to participate with others. That's what makes us more human. And if we're spiritual beings here to have a human experience, I woke up and I just remember waking up one morning. It was 2009, and I just remember going, "Wow! If I'm really here to have a human experience, then I better start like checking in, right? Because I was always in the clouds. I'm Aquarius. I'm a seeker. I'm knowledge based. I just did what I want. I use the world as my playground. If all the world, it's funny. I have a quote that I wrote down, earlier today. It says, "When all the world is a stage, make sure to remember your lines. If not, be secure enough to ad lib." Right?
That is true.
So I remember literally, because I was aware to a certain point that the world was my stage, and I remember knowing that I used it as a backdrop everywhere I went. This was my place. This is I'm here to be and to learn. But I only had a portion of that key, right? I didn't even understand really much more than that at that point. And I think we can only turn the key when we're supposed to. Some people think, oh, it's too late to turn that key. And I was having a conversation with someone earlier today that, we turn the key when we're supposed to, because all the knowledge that we are accumulating along the way, that's needed before we could turn the key. So we don't shame our past. We don't turn the key and then everything we've learned or everything we've invested our whole career or our knowledge base in doesn't go out the window. I believe that that's part of what we use once we turn the key, and we can't turn the key without that base. And so once we turn the key, we take it forward. right? I look at 20 plus years of construction management and real estate development and hanging in that whole place, mortgage, escrow, and learning about how you build buildings and learning how that, sitting at the big board tables with the big players and taking everything in. That's all that knowledge. Maybe I'm not using it in construction management anymore, but it really helped me look at how to build a business. And not just a business, but I'm building a brand. I have a dream, and it's huge. It could be considered a construction project. And it is to help people figure out how to take off that tie or that suit, but not because you don't want to ever wear it again, but to loosen it enough to go, this isn't me.
Right.
And this is not who I am, but if I want to still wear it, I can, but I need to know that everything we use to dress ourselves up, everything we use to pinpoint our identity is something we're using to create a feeling or an effect that we need. And when I started looking at that and dissecting myself, I was just like really overwhelmed with it. I mean, I look at some of my behaviors, and I was not a bad person, but I just look at some of my behaviors and I was like, wow. I mean, everything had to be a certain way, or it was ruined, and everything had, napkins folded a certain way, all the dishes, if something was served, it had to be a certain temperature, everything had to be like a movie perfect.
Yep.
And that's because it's how it was presented to me, and I took it on that's how I would find my worth, is in being this version of myself, and to deconstruct that version, to take off that suit. I had tons of suits. I loved them. To take off the suit, to take off the high heels, to take off that identity that I was using to try and fulfill something that I didn't have. Growing up and, growing up with divorce and my father, and going through the different things that, I felt when I wasn't there anymore, when we were separated, and all those different things, I became cold, and I became very, like, I have to be perceived a certain way, so everyone knows that I'm fine. And it was really an eye awakener to realize that was so many different things that I didn't even know I was trapped in, but the perception that I needed people to perceive me in was one that I felt, right? It's just us. We're the only ones who knows, because no one else is seeing us the way we think they're seeing us.
No. No, not at all. Not at all. No.
So when we're, like the big wedding of your life, when you're presenting yourself to the world, you're the only one that knows when something goes wrong, right?
That's right.
Everyone else is just like, hey, you were fine a minute ago. What's wrong, right? Because they're in their own world, like eating their cake, right? Like,
I was gonna say that one of the meetings that I was at was a very, very big meeting too. There was a lot of people there, and we were talking about the world finances and what it has to do, and how it trickles down into the mortgage business and everything else. So I was going through the whole history of the whole thing, and these people are like, so I said, "That's it." Remember what I told you I did to telemarketers? That's what I did. That's what I did in front of all these executives. I did the same thing. Took off the jacket, took off the tie, rolled the thing and everything else. I says, look, now you do the same thing. You know what?
Yeah.
Those, they weren't crazy. They did it. They actually did it. I said, now let's talk. It was great.
And I think that's.
And I'm not telling everybody, by the way, take your clothes off and that's to get anything done in life.
It's the second reference to taking off your clothes in different shows. So I remember everything, and you were like, take off your clothes and jump in the lake. So it's just one of those things you go to. It's really to be metaphoric of just being shameless, right? No stigma. It's really up your sleeves. Don't worry. I didn't find out I was a nudist till later in life, and my family's like, you didn't believe that? You didn't know that? I'm just like, I just don't like clothes. I didn't know that I was kind of a nudist. Well, that makes sense, right? So I get it. Like, I was like, why don't we just take off our clothes? We'll all be more comfortable. And like, they're not, no, people aren't more comfortable without their clothes.
Nobody gets cold.
So if you don't feel bad now, I just took it up a notch level. But what it does is it really shows us where we're comfortable, where we're not, what we do to feel at ease, what we do to protect us, right? This whole persona that I built for me to find safety in my world, literally, as we talk about on every show, not only didn't create it, it was only for me it created it, if it did that at all, because it wouldn't allow anybody else in. when we hold on to our expectations of ourselves so tightly that we don't allow room for others, then we are failing. And that could be with a song, it could be with a meeting. I like how you read the crowd in your meeting and then you adjusted, right? That is what we have to do in life. If we're somewhere in things are kind of like just all of a sudden not going right, then we have to adjust, I think. And I talk about that a lot, but I think we want to see if anybody's out there and wants to call in and maybe throw me a landline.
Yeah, they could do that. All they have to do is dial 605-472-5765, and the access code that you dial in is 608060 hash mark. That's it.
Did you say hash mark?
Hash mark, yeah.
Pound sign. I'm taking you
Well,
back.
pound sign, you can say that too.
You upgraded. You came into the real world. Maybe I'll adapt that.
Something like that. Yeah, that just
when,
drives me out of my mind. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, 605-472-5765. Don't be afraid, for crying out loud. Dial the phone. And it's 608060 pound sign. I mean,
the truth is, you can be afraid, but still call. I dare somebody to pick up the call and just say hi, because I would love to hear you. I would love to hear your voice. I'd love to hear someone say hello or let us know they're listening. The first step is always the hardest. But once you kind of break that ice, like Diana said, it becomes easier. You call in. You get to listen back to the show. You hear yourself on a radio show, and you get to really hear how you're interacting. I want to just kind of streamway into this because it has a lot to do with transformation work. Most times in life, as we were talking about earlier in the show, what we're presenting, the perception that we perceive ourselves in, that we're building every day, we don't know what it is. We think we do. But until we do the work, we're not really sure. I guarantee you that. If you ever call and you want me to do a reading and just talk with you for an hour, I'll show you places you can go look at it if you like through your words. But here's a way to test my theory. Call in, ask a question, or just chat with us for a minute, and then wait to hear the show back. You'll be surprised what you hear, because it's different than what you think you said. What happened for me, I always feel so bad about it, but I used to interrupt a lot. My brain moves so quick, and I was so, I had so much that I wanted to share with people who were talking. I would interrupt, and it became one of those things where my friends are like, oh, that's just Kelly. She doesn't mean a thing by it. And there's even T-shirts I saw go around later after I worked on this that was making this a cute thing that happens when you do it. And the truth is, it's not cute. It's not cute to interrupt people. It's not T-shirt worthy to make it something adorable. When we interrupt people, we are invalidating them. And I work on it a lot, because part of what I do for my work is I'm downloading and talking. And so if I miss a cue, I'm always trying to, jump in there. But even I still work on this, because when we learn to listen, we've come to a whole nother work of transformation work. And I never forget when I got my first radio show, how much it helped me to become a better conversationalist, to be more present, to actually, it takes you off the hook. Because I'm going to throw everyone out there who interrupts a line. I don't think we do it. I know that we don't do it because we're rude. There's a couple different reasons, but I'm going to actually digress for a second here. Hopefully I'll remember, because I think we have a caller, and that's more important to me. I'll come back to this conversation about interrupting.
Well, there you go. Let me see. The caller that's on area code 206. Go ahead.
Hi, it's Diana.
Oh!
Yes! Touchdown!
Touchdown.
Again,
Touchdown, Jesus.
I was not going to call in today, but my client gave me permission to come out and listen to the radio show, and I just can't help myself. It's just like, this is just such a great opportunity to be able to speak, and I learn so much every time I just call in that I just wanted to participate. You were talking about how you can't attain who we want to be just by being ourselves. And I so believe in that. Like, I'm like pretty much like Kellie in the clouds, an Aquarian. But we need spiritual guides and coaches and radio shows like this that help present ideas and give us keys to pinpoint our identity and see where we're at so that we can tweak it and change, you know? So I just wanted to give your show a shout out.
Well, I'm glad that you called in and that you brought that up, Diana, because you practice this, so it's important that you call in and you're able to share it, because you're right. We can't see who we're being because we're never really listening to ourselves. We're just being ourselves, right? And I think that's what I heard you say at the beginning.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you a question
it's
here.
Like, you're not listening, man. You're not.
Yeah. Well, do you want to add to that from some of our Oh. Is Diana talking? I can't hear.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was saying, I wondered if you wanted to hint on some of that, because we've worked on it in our transformation work. I think you might have shared on it. I don't know, so I won't bring it up. But about listening and not listening?
Yeah, I always think I'm listening. And then what I wrote down was there are some things we know that we don't know. And there are other things that we don't know that we actually don't know. And that is the gift of a coach or a spiritual guide or a radio show like this. You know, when I listen to others, I'm outside of their dream. I'm listening to them, and I can listen further and see things, but it's really hard for me to listen to myself. I think I'm being a certain way, and that's when you triple flip the mirrors and go, no, you're not.
Right. Yeah, and that happened a couple times, and even I remember you saying, wow, you mentioned this over a year ago, and I'm just now getting it. And I think, it takes that long to break through some of these veils. They're very thick. I'll say it again and again. Right. I believe this place is built against us. It's heavy, it's sleepy, and it's not to harm us, but it's because we have work to do if we want to get through it. If we really want to do what we're meant to do, if we want to come shine bright in who we came to be, if we want to find that, doorway, that true one doorway we're looking for, it's like winning the lotto sometimes.
That was the lesson I think you were bringing up and referring to. Yeah, over a year ago, because I just started transformation work with Kellie, January 8th of last year. And 3 months into it, I just had this revelation just recently. But a year ago, she would say, talk to me about my mind. And like, your mind. And I'm like, no, my mind is important. I need to listen to my mind. That's what runs me. I can't let go of my mind. And it took me over a year. I think it was on your last radio show when you were talking about how your mind it goes back to the last comfort place it knew. It doesn't know any better. And that was just like a light bulb. I went, oh my God. So my mind really doesn't know. And it took me over a year to get that one,
Well, it's funny. I could refer that back to like records, right? Because you heard me talk about we get on a broken record, and I think literally each generation it really is coded in different technology. Depending on how we grow up. And I think I'm a little bit in between records and tapes, cassettes. But what's happening is it takes a while for us to hear what we're looping around on because we're listening to it. We're just being it. We're not really listening through it, right? And so to be presented with someone who will listen to you with love and gently bring it up every once in a while to remind you, and then you get to on your own when that magic window opens because you're listening and connecting through other genres, go, oh, holy cow, that just centrifugally happened. I get it, right? That wow moment, that aha moment happened.
Yeah.
It still happens to me. I had an amazing one. So.
But it can sometimes take over a year to
like I think if it takes a year, you're doing good.
God,
I think that
like
with the transformation work, I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Oh, I just said, I think I just texted you the other day and just said, am I like the slowest learner on the planet?
Right, and the answer was always no, and it will always be no, and especially with the guide, you're going to get there quicker. It's one of my promises to my clients is that with me as your guide, you're going to be able to reach your goals sooner than later. When I processed these 3 blogs and did these transformations and did all this work within 3 years, I have people who've been doing this work for over 10, 20 years. They're licensed hypnotherapists, psychiatrists, Reiki, everything, spiritual psychologists, and they said, what you've done, Kellie, is not what other people do. They said, the amount of time and what you process, we don't think you realize what you've done. And I'm like, what have I done? Right? And so I think that you and everybody, every client that I work with, I think is getting. I was guiding myself. I'm like Freud. I was like psychoanalyzing myself the whole time through spirit. And so with me helping, I get to help you do that. So I think you guys, all my clients, are getting there a lot sooner. It may feel like forever, but I think to have something like to wake up and actually see your mind. I think that sometimes you forget how, not you per se, but everyone forgets how amazing that moment is. And to say it took me a year, I think that you really are ahead of the game, because it's not easy to be able to step outside yourself, look back, and then see yourself seeing yourself. That's the triple flip, and it's hard work, and it takes dedication, and you have to keep looking. And so it's a gift, and you really are not a slow learner. And I look forward to the day that one day that's just out of your vocabulary. I'm sorry, but I look forward to that because I know it'll happen. Did you say, Bob, we had another caller, or were you going to give our phone number, or?
No, you're fine.
Okay. So did you, what was I going to say? When I was talking about listening and interrupting, I think that you and I could even say that that's something that doesn't happen as much in our conversations, right?
Yeah.
Diana, sorry, yeah. Because that was something where we, both as Aquariuses, when we were working together, it was like, there's always these moments and we're like, who's going to stop talking? Who's going to stop talking? But what you do in transformation work is you learn, especially with a guide, that no one gets embarrassed, no one's judged. You learn through, I become your first moving mirror in a transformation, because I'm going to show you how not to be embarrassed, how not to judge yourself, how not to put yourself down when we're growing through, changing literally how we interact with ourselves and others. When we are recoding how we judge ourselves, how we speak, how we learn to listen to what we're saying instead of just responding. And I think that's what's coming up for me really a lot right now, Diana, is with this big epiphany you had last week, is that now you see the difference between listening and responding. Am I right?
Oh, it's a big difference in that. I mean, I know we've been on the phone before, and it's like we both start talking at the same time, and it's like, who's going to stop first? Because our minds are just like going like 100 miles an hour. But you cannot do this work, I swear. You cannot do this work without some kind of authentic, spiritual guide coach who has been through this before and knows what to do. I mean, you just be out there lost in the dark. Even these radio shows that, I didn't even want to call in today because, like, I'm in a lot of pain today, and I'm like, I have nothing to offer. I'm not going to call in. And it's like, okay, maybe I don't have anything that great to offer, but I can sure gain from listening. And, then I've had, a really good day. And my client said, go out and listen to your radio show. And I'm like, really? Like, that's so nice sweet of you.
Yes, that is really sweet, because what it shows to me, too, and I'm always trying to mirror out to clients and people I work with, or even if I just get it here, is when we change ourselves, our frequency, when we start interacting with ourselves more lovingly, we give everyone permission through osmosis to start doing that for themselves. We take down barriers and walls, and we create this loving energy. and people can feel each other. And she knows you love the show, and she's like, go do that, right? And that's as easy as because you've created that love energy there. If it was an agitating energy, she wouldn't have done that. It's just not natural for us to do those things. I'm going to just go out here on a caveat. For us to be able to still be nice when we're upset is part of transformation work that you will work on very hard. You will want to have to own that, because I used to remind people that you don't have, just because you're upset, you don't have to be angry. But as children, we're not taught that. We're taught if we're upset or hurt, we have to react in a certain way, and that's to protect ourselves or to lash out. And so when we learn through transformation work to really start healing ourselves, then we learn how to not get angry when we're upset. And it was really important for me to learn this, because I knew that when I would get upset, I would want to change my mind about things that I had made commitments to. And so I knew that wasn't right, and I knew that was something internal that I could fix. So I worked really hard, and if I ever change something now, it's because of a whole different reason. But it's not because I am reacting. It's because I've done the math. I've looked at what I'm giving versus what I'm getting. I've looked at boundaries. I realized that life is spiritual. It's not personal. And I've created a way to really manifest my world through love and like energies. I won't, if I'm giving my energy somewhere and it's not being met, then I will not do that any longer. And it's not because the situation doesn't matter or the people don't matter. It's because we will create a lack in our energy field, and then we'll start circling. We won't know why we're not getting something else, and we won't have an idea why. We don't know that it's because of something that we left behind us, that we've left open. People will always say to me that, I'm holding space for someone. And I say, I don't hold space for anybody anymore. I let them in. So in transformation work, what we do is we don't hold space for someone. We just let them in. Whew. Then we're not giving something that, or just taking away space from we only have so much space and energy. And if we're holding a certain part of it for someone, that nobody gets it, not even us. So in transformation work, through the whole self-love mastery process, what we've learned at end is we don't, and you'll learn this in the first transformation, you own it by the end, but by the end of the first transformation, we learn how to process the yin and yang of pain. And so we learn how to love people and not hold them hostage, or to let people go and not hold them hostage by letting them in versus holding a boundary. So anything we give our energy to, anything that's opposing peace and harmony, will take away room for peace and harmony. So you can't fill a cup that's full, right? So if you're reserving all this space for someone, well, then you've left no room for anything new to come. You haven't left any room for you to grow personally. And this is what I've found for myself. And I've tested the theory, because I'm my first client. I test everything on me, and it's true. As soon as I was able to, even with father work, mother work, exes, different people, when you process and realize we're all just on this grand journey doing the best we can, and we learn how to not just know this, but be this, we free that, right? We work on it in week 9 of a transformation journey, the first transformation. There's a blog called Pieces, and I really have been studying chaos theory lately, which is a mathematical equation that it kind of attunes to the butterfly effect. And I laughed when I was studying it the other day, because I'm like, that's week 9 of my transformation work. And I just got chills down my spine, so it's true. That's the second time. And so we're doing what Diana said. Really makes sense. You might not have heard it there, but she said there's some things you know that you don't know, and there's some things you don't know that you know. And so it's like a code, but the truth is, like, I can look all of a sudden at my work, this book that I downloaded, and now 5 years later I'm reading The Butterfly Effect. I'm like, oh, that's the work that I pulled through. Literally, if you can think in mathematical equations and look at that whole rotation of how it works, that's my blog number 9 in the book. There's something in my transformation work and book for everybody, and that's why I know it's bigger than me. Like Bob said, when he wrote over 100 songs, right? He's like, how could I do that without help? And he's pulling through all these things that literally, if you look at it, if you don't just go, oh, that's a song, 100 songs that don't sound alike. It sounds really easy to hear that, but if you know what goes into that, you're just like, blows your mind, right? And that's like the book that I do, that's like the work that we're doing. We have these grander guides or scales that I call it fissures in our layer of thinking. So as we keep opening these fissures in our layers of thinking, the world becomes bigger and we see more clearly, and literally we're blowing fear out of the way. And so we see with love. And guess what happens when you do that? You get to be love, and then you get to create 100 songs. You get to, create this huge, beautiful radio show for our station for people to come do their radio shows at. I get to pull through a blog, and it's not because we just didn't have the passion or come. We came to do it, but I feel like I'm on a stepping stool again, but I'm going to testify to the fact that this is not because I'm special that I wrote this book or that I could do the work. I think we're all special, but we all came to be who we came to be. So if I ever drop the ball, there's always going to be someone else who could pick it up. That's why there's tons of musicians. That's why there's a whole field of psychology, spiritual psychology. That's why we have really, all these students and teachers. And I just really want everyone to know that it really is a stream of beautiful thought. And I really want to add to that, because what's really cool about that thought that was just given to me through a friend is I have a blog. And I actually read it to someone today. So I'm going to read it online. And I have a client who's working in her innate journey. And she is working on this blog this week. And it makes me really happy. And every client that's graduated loves this blog. And it makes them happy. And it's called Hum. And so I'm going to pull it up, and I'm going to not get stressed out if I'm going slow. And because it's in Internal Narcissus. Where is it? Internal Narcissus is a website that I lived and grew out loud from day one, the first blog that is in the book. And it has all my radio shows and blogs there. It also has the book there as it was posted and lived and grown out loud for people who can't afford the ebook. You could go to internal.narcissus.com. If you go to that website and if you go to blog, there's a link that says Internal Narcissus book, and you click that and you have access to all the blogs in order as they were written from March 13th, 2013, 1 week at a time. That is now the book. So that's a place where people who can't afford to buy the book can go get the book in its authentic form for free. And so I'm also going to go, and now that I'm there, thank you for putting up with me or hanging on the line with me, because I'm going to read Hum. So let me just get ready. Okay, so this is Hum, and it was written July 3rd, 2013, and it goes like this. When we vibrate and shine bright collectively, it is a mass connection of souls streaming live. I believe the things that make us beautiful or feel that way are not the things that we put on or use to get by day to day. It is a feeling that comes through and over us when we are together, causing souls to collectively hum. It's a feeling of bliss in the purest form and the purest high you could ever have. One that makes you smile and feel like you could burst out of the atmosphere. When we vibrate and shine bright collectively, it is a mass connection of souls streaming live. I love this feeling, and when it comes on, if lucky enough to catch it in real time, it can take us another step further. It is like cake or candy of the soul kind, so nourishing for our being. I wish we could feel like this more often, not afraid of the rush, never feeling distant or awkward when we are near each other, but always feeling loved and beautiful through the music, art, peace, and trust we are creating. But we hide and we fear and we worry too much, and it saddens me. People do not talk to each other enough anymore. So afraid a connection might spark an intrusion. I cannot understand or figure out what intrusion that would be. Yet it is this way, even though we so beseechingly need each other. I implore you to be who you are. the who you were born to be. I know that is not always an easy thing to know, and there are a million things and happenings that have went on in between, but it is dire that we find this out or we may never shine bright. I want the who you are when you are alone to be present, the one that knows you inside and out and is so perfectly ready to break through in the knowing that it is part of our learning curve. We are meant to evolve and change, as if we have a say. My truth is we have to love everything about ourselves so we can love others too. Once we learn to love our lips, our thighs, our buttocks, our eyes, our skin, our nose, our knees, our ankles, and our toes, our past, present, and our future will be home. Honestly, I think we take ourselves too seriously, forgetting this is life, and it is not perfect, and that is what makes it beautiful. Once we do this, we can accept and love others for their selves and not judge them against ideas that have nothing to do with either of us. I dare you not to care what society says and find your own beauty by accepting and loving yourself first. But most of all, learning to embrace and love your mind. Make it your ally and confidant, becoming best friends with your thoughts because they are your true north, guiding you to your inner pride and self, which dictates everything that you do. This is the place where you should feel safe when you are alone. The safest place to go rest when things get a little crazy or do not make sense. I swear to you, there is nothing ugly about any human except when they are not a human trying. We are everything beautiful and fruitful from our Creator through our parents and the things we have learned, unlearned, and are learning. The want and desire in our hopes and dreams is us wanting to shine bright, not us trying to hold ourselves back. I believe if we become small first, instead of trying to encompass the world all at once, that we can change our mind one thought at a time, creating a truth that is believable, then placing self right smack in the middle of our best intentions. I know there is nothing more lovely than waking up in the leading role of your life. I am living proof of this. Please remember that you are the most important character in your life. Never let anyone take that coveted place or give anyone the power to take away your shine. Your victories and losses are your own skin, sheathed in a million miracles called cells, that have given you a place on planet Earth that is totally capable of defying gravity. We need to rally to our own cause, knowing that we can affect the life we live, one memory, one new thought at a time, and always more effectively when we are together, causing our souls to collectively hum. That's hum. And it is very, very powerful. And I hope you enjoyed it. If you heard anything that you want to talk about or have a question about, we have a couple minutes left. You could call in. Bob, do you have that number?
Yes, I do. So I had to turn on my mic. The number is 605-472-5765, and the access code is 608060 #.
Life is a practice. And like the quote that I read earlier that came to me yet today, it said, when all the world is a stage, make sure to remember your lines. And if not, be secure enough to ad lib, right? And so even listening to that blog, that's a lot, right? So we feed ourselves everything that we have that's going to create our tools in our now to create our world. What we know that we don't know, that's waiting to bubble up, come forward, right? What we realize and what we don't realize. I had someone follow me on Instagram once tell me, because I had made a comment on a post, they're like, oh, so happy you wrote that, Kelly, because that one sentence helped me flip that light. And it was when you chose to use the word, once we realize we can. Once we realize we can, right? That's not even the full sentence. He said those words, he goes, I went and looked up realized, and then I was able to process that because this is a word person too. And it's true. Once we know we cannot have to listen to ourselves, that we could change the way we feel about ourselves, that we can listen to what we're saying to go, that's not what I think, right? Because when our internal agreements don't match our external sharing, we're not in alignment. And that's what transformation work's about. That's the beauty of it. I'm going to see if Bob or if Diana have anything to say.
Diana, you're still there, right?
I'm still here.
I swear, the woman has been holding her breath for the last 60 seconds.
Go, Diane.
Right?
It's like after she reads something like that, like then my brain is just like off in so many different places. You know, when we hide, when we fear, when we worry about intrusion, but we are meant to evolve and change. I mean, even, okay, just bringing it back to me, my client is like a spiritual poo-poo. Like, she is just not into that at all. But because I share it with her, because I'm authentic and real, she realizes what it does for me, and she encourages me. Like, she texts me on my way home from the store going, go listen to your radio show. And I'm like, how cool is that? You know, she doesn't even really totally believe in this stuff, but she can see what it does for me, and so she encourages me to go ahead and do it. Like, she must see what it does with our relationship and how we interact, and what it does, creating that relationship just one-on-one with another person, you know?
Does she when she's telling you to go listen to the radio show, do you ever give her a copy of the show?
I would gladly do it. I don't know if she would listen to it. I share things with her, but I have to be just I'm careful about what I share, and, you know, to not because sometimes people, they're just not totally ready, you know, and which always surprises me. Well, I'm always the one out there digging, going deeper, like, give it to me. And other people are like, no, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
But, you know, you have to be careful, especially in a work situation with a client. But I'm just glad that she encourages me, because that tells me that she can see the results of the work that I do. Otherwise, she would just, a client could easily say, oh, you're just interfering on my time. Like, why are you doing this? And she's like, no, go listen to it. And that is like a huge testimonial to Kellie and to the work that we do, that even if she can't articulate it or express it, she sees the value in it, and she says, go listen to your show gladly. And that's pretty huge.
She can though, if she wants to. Or you give her the link, yeah. She can actually go to the landing page and actually watch what we're on the screen right now. She can watch a copy of that video, and believe it or not, this woman will come back to you and say, wow, that was really cool.
Yeah.
What I love about that is that's real love, right? When this is what it's called, unconditional love. When you don't have to have someone be like you to love them. You love someone, and you love them for who they are, and you watch, and you might not understand exactly everything that they understand, or you might not have the same beliefs. I mean, some people are married that are different religions. Some people are married that are Republican and Democrats. Like, some people, just love will always win when you know how to not take the other person's perception or choices of how to experience their life personally, right? You leave some things off the table, and you leave love on the table. And that's a really good, and I know that Diana's been working with this client for a long time, so she's been there through the whole thing. And for her to say that it really touches me, because what it does is it shows me a beautiful mirror of who you are, Diana. You've created such a great space of love and care that you're getting that mirrored back. So I hope you see the mirror that she's showing you of who you are, because everyone's a mirror. So yeah, beautiful work.
I'm so grateful. I mean, you could have so many different clients that could react in so many different ways, and she's just like, she must see something in it, right?
She sees something in you. She sees something in you.
Yeah, like, go for it. Keep doing it. Even though she might not really totally be able to relate to it yet, she sees the value in it. And, I mean, I love her unconditionally for whoever she is. And, yeah.
That goes with parents too. We're in a relationship with everyone, as we've spoke about on different shows. Whether it's how we pay our bills, how we answer the phone, our animals, our parents, our family, our friends. We're in a relationship with everyone. People get so caught up on that word, or dates, or different words that have taken over a meaning that really just clouds what it really is. If we are in our one true relationship with ourself and spirit, however we connect, then everyone else is just in relationship too. And so when we do, I mean, my parents, when I first started, I've always written and been deeply profound, and it's, there's jokes about, don't play Scrabble with Kelly, and, and different things, and I always know things, and so it was always kind of that weird, esoteric kind of thing going on. But it's like when I started really writing and this work came through in my blog and living and going out loud, it terrified parts of my family. They were just like, what is that? And I was so just amazed at what was happening that I always wanted to talk about it. And so you just see people just close down. Dad would get up and go, and Mom would try to change the subject as she saw I was going there, because she knew Dad was going to get up and go. So you all kind of, this is what friends and family do, right? We all kind of help manage each other. We're like, oh, she's going there. Oh, how do we keep this? How do we keep everybody in the living room, right? And so after years and years of this work, 6 years, it's something I could talk about, and my dad doesn't get up and walk away, right? It's not offensive to him anymore. He likes what he sees, how he sees it on me. He loves the growth that I've done. He loves the woman that I've become. My mother is very proud of what I've done. And it takes a while sometimes. Like you said, it took a year for you to have that connection. That's nanosecond, right? Like, people think that they're going to go do learn something and change something about themselves overnight. It's not. We have to practice. This journey could take up to 2 years if you do it right. 1.5 years to 2 years. You can have the most amazing results with a 90-day transformation. I guarantee you, if you do a mini transformation, you're going to have amazing results. If you want to, self-love mastery, it's a journey. And so everyone has their place, and everyone only has so much time. And that's the thing. We only have so much time. So to really be this work, practice, right? And there's just not the way the world's built sometimes. So sometimes we have to really remember that everyone is so beautiful in their own right. So if we're really overwhelmingly coming in with our shine bright turned on, and I've spoke about this to many of my clients during the 4th week, shine bright is finding your frequency. Sometimes I remember when I had no idea about my frequency, and I used to call it the shock and awe theory, and it's just like, now I'm very careful about where I'm at. What am I doing? What frequency am I carrying? I could walk into my aunt's house, and she's got 6 golden retrievers, and I walk up quiet, walk in the front door into the kitchen, and I scare her. And I always do it. And she goes, oh, I didn't know you were here. Then the dogs start barking. She goes, how'd you do that? I'm like, I told you I know how to do it. We can control our own energy frequency. We have the power to love everyone where they are. And it starts with not having to be the center of our own attention. It starts with letting down having to be the center of our own universe and needing things to be a certain way. It starts when we realize that nothing's more important than loving others. And the only way we can ever do that is through loving ourselves. And it's the most beautiful gift. It is a knowledge-based gift. It is about love and fear. It is non-denominational. It is freedom. It's personal freedom. It's mental health. If I listed to you, if I told my whole journey, I've never written about it. The people that know me know my journey, and my clients, because I share out loud as things come up. But I never talk about everything that I've changed or beat, because to me that was just a symptom to a cause. I needed to beat me. And it's more important for people out there to know that their journey, what they're working on, is way more important than what I've been through. I'm here to help you work through yours. And so I was on a radio show a couple of weeks ago, the Couch Recovery radio show, and Louis Delgado said to me, he goes, I'm sure, everybody listening, she sounds like rainbows and butterflies, and, she's got all this love, 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 but don't be afraid of that. He goes, because everyone has their path to walk. We've all been through those hard times. I've been through the dark night of the soul. I've lived a party life. I know what it's like to wake up and go, oh, I'm tired and hungover, and, I just like, so, or to beat yourself up because things keep happening that are out of your control. You can't seem to change your frequency, and you're in this stuck pattern. I've been there, and no matter what you're breaking on the outside, it's only you breaking on the inside. And I believe all those things that appear to be falling apart, as you'll read everywhere, all over the internet, when things seem to be falling apart, as long as we can embrace things are happening for us and not against us, they truly are happening for us. When they break apart, that's where the light shines in. That's when we get to lift up and go, okay. But when we try to fight that breaking because we're prideful, we don't want to be seen, we don't want anyone to know, we want to fix it on our own. Quote unquote, isolation is a lock, not a key, right? So those are the things that keep us in pain and keep us circling. The hardest thing you'll ever do is look at your pain. And I'm going to just tell you, if you really are interested in being truly free, it just liberates you now to the most peaceful existence. There's a lot of mother-father work, and it's not shaming. It's liberating. It's loving. And you can't get around doing this work without mother-father work. And so it all comes down to so many different things. But we start here. And if you want, you can go all the way down and then come back up. Right? We're going to clear those frequencies, right? Starting from our crown all the way down to the root and then come back up. So ask me. Ask Diana. If you're curious to work with me, reach out and ask someone who shares on my page who is talking about working with me. All of my clients that share would definitely answer a question. Anybody who gets on the phone with me, it's not a sales call. I guarantee you, if you call me, I just can't help myself. They're free consultations, and you will leave with the tool, and you may come back and do a transformation with me. You might start it that day, but my wish is for you to just take that look, because that's more important than anything. Whether you start right away or not, it's knowing that you could change the way you feel about yourself at your deepest contracts, which will liberate your frequency and allow you to shine bright and really embrace that I am, to embrace that loving yourself so you can love another, so you can love universally like the sun, right? I'm going to step down. I think we're past 4 o'clock, but this has been a very fun radio show. I've really enjoyed it, Bob. Diana, thank you for calling in, as always. I love it when you call in. And, thank you, Pyramid One. Thank you, everybody, for listening. This is Kellie Wright.
Oh, you guys, you two guys, I tell you something. Diana, you have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. Now, Kellie. Excellent show. Excellent show. I mean, you saw me. I mean, I'm sitting here on the edge of the next word coming out.
Thank
it
you.
was really, and the
feel
reading
your
was great.
Sincerity in that.
And the reading was good. Oh yeah, what do you think? I'm kidding around?
No, not at all. But I know you would never lie. But I feel your energy in there, and it's an honor to hear that. Thank you very much.
It was definitely. I mean, everyone that's watching this, when you do watch the video in the landing page and or on YouTube, because it's on YouTube also, when you look at it there, stop and listen to the words. If you don't even want to look, don't look. Listen to the words. They will go right through you like a blade through an apple. Bam, it is there. Every single one of them. These kind of shows are the shows that make you what you are. This is going on all around you, all the time, in 100 different places all at the same time. And you know what? They funnel right in here. With you here, all we can do is feed you the information and the love you need to continue what you're doing in your life, no matter what it is.
With love.
There you go.
Love wins when we
Meanwhile,
choose love, right?
that's the way it goes. Oh, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Pyramid One Radio Network around the world. Conscious Speaks. Kellie Wright.